Alright, so you guys should be familiar with these shoes. I've done a review on them. These are the Reebok CrossFit Lite TRs. And yes, they do say CrossFit. I'm sorry everybody, but these shoes are great for deadlifting, for squats. I have a video on these already. I'm a big fan of them. Many of you guys have gotten them too, and you seem to like them. These are the leather ones. However, I gotta be honest with you a little bit. They're a little bit big for me, and that's never a good thing. You never want to be too big, do you? Don't you want to be, wait, what? Anyways, I picked up these little bad boys the other day instead. And by the other day, I mean today, and they just came in. These are the CrossFit Lite Low TRs. These are the canvas edition. They're also a half size smaller because they fit a little bit more snug. I think they're gonna be more beneficial to me for deadlifts. They have like a slipper type look, but that's what you get. So you'll be seeing these in videos more. You'll still be seeing these some, but again, these are a little bit more loose, so I probably won't be wearing them for my big pulls. But there you go, I thought I'd update you guys. What's up everybody, welcome back outside the gym early Friday morning for another deadlift day, which is surprising because last Friday morning when we trained early, things did not go very well, and I have a little bit of a feeling things are gonna go a little bit better today because the volume's not really there, and I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But I had a Quest bar, part of my pre-workout. I'm also sipping on some of that there Tier 1. And I'm training today more because of the circumstances at hand, and it just so happens that it works out really well with my programming. So I got my new scheduling from Dan Green, so the next 2 weeks or so, and today actually doesn't call for any pulls from the floor. I'm just gonna do some deficit dead, so he's working some kind of an active deload into the system, cutting back on some of the volume, so it should be fun. Not to mention, I think this cycle for these next 2 weeks, we're gonna be doing some slingshot work, so that should be fun because we've never done that on BBSM before. But getting back to my main point, circumstances this week dictate that I have to train early today because it's Father's Day weekend, and later this afternoon I'll be leaving with both my family and my fiance's family. We're gonna head up to Maine and go camping for the weekend, which should be very interesting because we're gonna all be very close, but also because of, if you can probably tell, the weather is pretty crappy out, so should be interesting to see what happens. But it's gonna be a fun weekend regardless, so I gotta get my training in early because I do have a little bit of work to do this morning before leaving around noon or so, so you gotta get it in when you can, if you know what I'm saying. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go train and stop talking. All right, no pulls from the floor today, but doing some deficit work, and I'm using an aerobic step because let's face it, it's not getting used for aerobics anymore these days. It's about a 4-inch deficit, but I think going forward, I'm going to make my own platform, and if I do, I'll make a video on that. I'm just showing you my actual deficit work today, like I mentioned, going double overhand and beltless for all sets. You saw the first one there of 315 for 3. We then did 365 for 3, and these felt pretty good. I'm also using those new shoes that you saw, and I like these a lot. I didn't think I was gonna like them. I thought they were kind of ugly on the website, but I really like the way they look when they're on my feet, and the half size smaller is definitely something that feels great, and it kind of makes me wish that my high tops were a little bit smaller. So maybe going forward, I'm gonna get a smaller size there because they feel a lot better on my foot, and that's saying a lot because I really like the way that the high tops felt before I got these guys. See the last set here, 405 for 3. These are the only working sets I'm showing you today. If you want to see the rest of my work from this day, you can always see that on Fitocracy. Also, shout out to my sister who got me this shirt to support the tattooed military, so big ups to anyone serving. All right, so we're back in my kitchen. It's actually a couple days after you saw those last clips. Those clips were filmed on a Friday. I then went on a little mini vacation camping in Maine all weekend for Father's Day with my family and Mrs. Campbell Fitness's family. So it was very productive in that sense, but unproductive in terms of getting anything on camera, as well as lifting and or eating food. So I came back and I have to kind of stock back up. Before I do that, I want to show you this, that I'm wearing this sweet, sweet old Campbell Fitness tank top. And I try not to wear my own shirts because I feel like it's, like if you're in a band and you have a concert and you wear your own t-shirts, I don't know, I think it's pretty funny, I guess is a way to say it, but I try not to wear my own t-shirts. But obviously, being gone, I had to do some laundry, so I don't have a ton of clean clothes. I thought I'd go ahead and show you just some quick grocery pickups. Nothing too fancy, and not a lot of food this time, only because I didn't really feel like it. I got a lot of stuff to do today. I just wanted to get some basics. So what I got is some of this double protein bread, which I like a lot. It's made by Arnold. A lot of you guys have seen this before. If you can find it, grab it. It's got pretty good macros. Plus, when you take a look here at some of it, you're looking at 7 grams of protein per slice. So if you have a sandwich, which we all will, it ends up being like 14 grams of protein just for the bread, so that's nice. I got some asparagus as well as some baby organic spinach. So this is hippie certified, although it's in a plastic container, so I'm sure that's not very environmentally friendly. Also picked up 2 cases of Monster, not because it actually gives me any extra energy. I don't think caffeine really does. However, I always see everyone else drink these, from Matty Fusaro to Max Tuning to Christian Guzman. So if they drink it, I gotta drink it because they're obviously seeing all kinds of games. I got a pound of just deli turkey, so I'll probably just have a sandwich really quick with the double protein bread. And then I got some meat, so some ground turkey, 93.7, some ground beef, 93.7 again, some shaved steak. I'm not sure what percentage this is, but I don't think it's too bad in terms of macros. If you guys can see that. 6 grams of fat and 11 grams of protein. I don't really care too much about that. I need my fats because dietary fat helps with sexual libido, and I need to stay big, if you know what I'm saying. And then I got some Greek yogurt. I always pick this up each week. I didn't have any more. I have plenty of granola though, that's why you're not seeing it. Some of the holy guacamole you've become accustomed to. Then I got some jumbo eggs, AKA extra hormones. So all kinds of hormonal gains. Hopefully some are anabolic. Then finally, to top it all off, we got some Vaseline. This is intensive care, advanced repair. I'll let you make your own assumptions here, but that's what we got as far as the grocery pickups go. I'm gonna go ahead and put these things away, and then I'm gonna eat some lunch and get back to work, and then I'll probably go to the gym later this afternoon, and you will see some squats, hopefully. Hopefully some heavy squats. We'll see. I'll try to spice up the outfit a little bit to appease all you guys out there. So we'll check to you soon. Alright, so outside of the gym, thought I'd do a little bit of a video, as is typical tendency here. A few things. A lot of you guys have been asking about my hat. This is a Forged Iron training hat. You know, they do all my shirts and whatnot, and we did a run of Campbell Fitness shirts a couple of months ago. But they just came out with hats, and I think they're actually going to be releasing this week, so if you're interested, go ahead and check out the site. I always link it in the description box, although I don't try to push it on you. But it's a friend of mine who runs the store, and it's really cool, I think. A lot of good shirts, at least in my opinion. And I don't get paid, so that's particularly strong coming from me, because typically I shit on everything if you guys have been watching my videos for any length of time. But I'm also rocking the USA Under Armour shirt because the World Cup's going on right now, and USA plays today, I believe at 5:30 Eastern time, so it should be good. And I'm not really a big fan of soccer or football for pretty much anyone else in the world, but I do really like the World Cup. I always try to watch as many games as possible, and I really think it's because back in the day I had World Cup for regular old 8-bit Nintendo. And that being said, my favorite team in that game is Cameroon. And I think they were like the worst team in the game, but I just really liked them. I don't know why, maybe because of the color scheme or whatever, but gonna watch some of the game later this afternoon. Should be good, regardless of how they do. Like I said, I always like watching it. It's like one of those things like the NCAA basketball tournament or something like that. Just always good TV to watch and really good competition regardless. Although there's almost as much flopping in soccer as there was in this past NBA Finals, and it's getting really bad in the NBA. That's probably why I don't watch it so much anymore. Congratulations to the Spurs. You did it. Not that I really care either way. I don't really dislike the Heat like many people do, but my Wizards aren't going to win anytime soon, but maybe that'll turn around soon after a strong showing this past year. So I'm going to stop rambling because I got to get in squat, and I think I'm trying to avoid it just because I got to go heavy today. So I'm trying to take as long as possible. So warm up, squat, and then we'll see you inside. That feel when you go in to do a heavy set of squats at 515 for 3 reps, yet you forget to focus your very expensive camera. So instead of seeing me hit this 515 for 3, you get to really focus in on the guys standing around in the blue shirts in the background. So my apologies. But anyways, 515 for 3 today. The actual work called for 1 to 2 sets of 515 for 3 to 4 reps. And I got 3 and I only did 1 set, but they felt pretty good. I just didn't want to push it. Now this last one is a bit of a grinder, but it definitely went, and I didn't really sway as much as I normally do when I grind these out, so I felt really good here. So I just called it the main sets at 515 for 3. We then moved on to high bar pause squats. I'm going to show you all 3 working sets here. The first of which is 345 pounds, and just going down and pausing briefly at the bottom, then trying to really explode up. So you get to see that with kind of the momentum of the weights at the top of the rep. You get some bar shaking here, so I'm really trying to be explosive in these, but it's hard to do when you're working with heavier percentages here. So this brings us on to the second working set of pause squats. We bumped the weight up 20 pounds and went for 365. Gave you guys a view here. I'm also rocking a new pair of SBDs. You probably can't tell, but You guys know from the recent videos that I've been using my rebands a lot more, and that's because they're a little bit looser on my knees. And that's a good and bad thing depending on how you look at it. I like tight knee sleeves. You should get tight ones. A lot of them have sizing to do so, but my SBDs that I've been wearing have been extremely tight to the point where I can't even really get them on all the way, and it's a really pain in the ass to get them off. So I bumped up the size. I ordered a new size, and these are 100 times better. So these are only a size down, where my other ones were about 2 full sizes down, so extremely tight. So I like these a lot better. You also see my last working set here of 385, again paused. These are high bar, stance is a little bit more narrow, and because of that, a lot of you guys have been asking me to show you how I set up for high bar and low bar, so I wanted to go ahead and show you that really quickly. Could probably make a more in-depth video on this as is, but for my high bar squats, I get a much more narrow grip, and I try to set up with the bar on top of my traps. So when I pull myself under, I set up my traps and squeeze myself into place. You can see when I unrack here, the bar is literally on top of my traps, and my hands are a little bit more narrow. So for low bar, I take a little bit of a different approach. I go a little bit wider in my grip width. I use the same width as when I bench. And then what I do is I try to throw myself under as far as I can and get the bar as low as I can, which typically makes them on my rear delts. As you can see here, pushing my shoulders into the bar, you can't really see my traps as well as you could when I did high bar. Instead, my rear delts are really protruding. So it's only a couple of inches of difference, but if you ask your girlfriend, that's all the difference in the world. So again, I might make a more in-depth video in the future. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.